friends! My name is Mailynn and welcome back to my channel. I'm a flutist, performer, and music teacher located in the city of Kamloops, British Columbia, and this is my channel where we learn all things flute, so thank you so much for joining me here today. In today's video, we're going to be learning the US National Anthem, known as the Star-Spangled Banner, so if you're interested, then just keep on watching. As always, if you have any questions throughout the video, please feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. I do my best to answer them as soon as I see them. Also, if you have any issues when it comes to practicing, feel free to check out my free practice guide, also located in the description down below. It gives you 8 really easy steps to follow to help guide your practice sessions. Alright, so let's just get right into today's video. So as I mentioned previously, we will be learning the Star-Spangled Banner. I am taking this transcription from 8notes.com, so again, a link to the original score is going to be listed in the description. It is free, it's not sponsored or anything, I just really appreciate all their arrangements here. So there are a few arrangements. I chose the flute trio for this video, so if you're interested in doing it for flute duet, flute piano, or flute quartet, those are all available for you there as well. So this one I will be reading it as is. So if you are interested in reading another key, again, check out that link and it'll have different key signatures there for you to read it through. Alright, so let's just get the flute part right on your screen right over here. So we're going to go through our first 6 starter bits before we get into clapping, counting, and then finally playing the piece. So number 1, we're going to be looking at our key signature. So we always are going to take a look between the treble clef and our time signature, see if we have any accidentals there. So we do have one accidental, which is 1 flat, and if you memorize what your flat keys are, you'll remember that 1 flat equals F major, or it could also be played in its relative minor, which is D minor. How you look for the minor key, just in case. The relative minor is either 3 letter names down, or you can go up 6 letter names, so I like to go down, so F, E, D. So that's how we know the relative minor is D minor. So let's take a look at the first note and the last note to see if we have any indication of the tonic. So that would be either the F or the D of either of those key signatures. So we don't start on the tonic. However, we do start on the major triad of the tonic. So that would be C, which is the 3rd note. But we definitely end on an F there, so I would say we're in F major. Let's just make sure we check to see if we have any indication of the minor key, just to see if we have any switches in the key signature. So we're going to be looking for primarily the raised 7th or the raised 6th of the minor key. So D is the tonic, so if you're to play that on a piano and go down 1 key there, 1 note, it would be C sharp or ultimately B natural as well. So we do have a B natural here and there, but we don't have any C sharps. So I would say we're firmly in the F major key, which we are. Number 2, we're going to be looking at our time signature. So here we're written in 3/4 time. So the top number tells us how many beats per measure we have. So we have 3 beats per measure. The bottom number tells us what note type those beats are. So 4 represents a quarter note, so we have 3 quarter notes per measure. Number 3, we're going to be looking at our tempo indication. So here we have maestoso written down. So that means a quarter note should equal 90 beats per minute. So when I clap and count the piece as well as playing it, I will be playing it at both of those, the final tempos. But if you find that is way too difficult to practice along, you can go back into the playback settings and set it to a slower speed in order to get it at a tempo where you feel most comfortable and you're not making any mistakes when it comes to clapping and counting and playing. Alright, number 4, we're going to be looking at our dynamics. So here we have F written in underneath the pickup bar there. So F represents forte, which is loudly or strong, and then we don't have anything written until bar 17 where we have piano there. So piano represents softly or means softly. Then we do have a crescendo at bar 23 from piano all the way back up to forte, and then we end the piece on a forte. So just making sure that we have that contrast there, but of course if you want to add more dynamics, please feel free to definitely add it to your rendition of it. That's what makes your playing of it special. Number 5, we're going to be looking at our articulation. So we're going to see if you have any things like staccatos, mercatos, or slurs. So I'm just going to take a quick glance at the piece. So we definitely have regular tightening there, so making sure you have a nice ha and a nice gentle ta behind the teeth to get nice regular tightening. We do have some slurs, so for example at bar 7, and we also have another one at bar 15. We do have some interesting articulation coming up though after that. At bar 28, we have those breath marks there. So that means every time you play those, they're going to have a little extra ha behind them. So da, ha, 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 just to bring a little bit more emphasis to those notes. And then we have that same articulation again at bar 30. Otherwise, everything is pretty straightforward, just those slurs, so making sure that you're not tonguing any of those notes underneath the slur, and then making sure that you tongue the next one after that. And otherwise, that is all I would note when it comes to the articulation. So then number 6, we're going to be looking at our roadmap. So we're going to see if you have any repeats or decapos or anything like that. And at a quick glance, I don't see anything, so we're just going to be reading it from top to bottom. Alright, so now let's get into clapping and counting the piece. So again, I'm going to be doing this at the final tempo here, so that means quarter note equals 90. As I mentioned before, make sure that if you find that this is way too fast for you, slow it down in the playback settings so that you can clap along at a tempo that you're not making a lot of mistakes, and then slowly increasing it until you get to the final performance tempo. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, very good. So this one definitely has its little tricky moments when it comes to the rhythm. So I want to make sure that we pay attention to those little sections where we might have some slip ups. So starting right at the beginning, we have the dotted 8th and 16th note. So when I'm counting it, I am counting the subdivisions in between. So the 1 E and a, or 2 E and a, 3 E and a. So that's the best way to get the subdivisions in your head so you can get the right space there when it comes to playing those notes. So how I'm counting that is for every single beat, we split it into 4 notes there. So 4 sixteenths. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. And you can also do this again at a slower tempo. So let's slow that down all the way to 55. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. So making sure that you're counting that so it's exactly how it should sit is really important before, because the rest of the piece is relatively simple. It's just really making sure that you're getting that specific dotted 8th and 16th down. So again, making sure that I would use that as your bar essentially to start with your clapping and counting. So even if the rest of it is pretty straightforward with the quarter notes and the half notes and things like that, make sure that you do get that precisely, because it is so commonly heard that you do want to get it exactly right. So again, it would be at the slower tempo, 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 1 E and a. All right. And then another one that I want to make sure that I point out along with that one is making sure that you're also getting the dotted quarter and the 8th note again. So again, bringing that back up to tempo here. So this is 90 beats per minute again. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. If you want to write down any of the rhythm there on top of the notes, feel free to do that, especially for anything that you find a little bit tricky. Always go ahead and write it in for yourself. It doesn't hurt. And then as you slowly get to play and have more experience, you'll find that you won't have to write them in as much. But make sure that you do have that in so you know what it sounds like and what it looks like. Oh, and also if you do want to take some liberties with the piece, like if you're playing it solo, I would recommend holding the high C at bar 31 there, or 32 depending on how this is transcribed, so that you can really emphasize the piece. A lot of people like to hold that note there, so feel free to put a little fermato over that if you're interested or you're not playing along with an accompaniment. Alright, so now let's get into playing it with the flute. So again, if you're having issues when it comes to identifying the notes, make sure that you write in the letter names on top or below of the notes there. Make sure that you get them all correct. Circle any accidentals, so any of those B naturals, just to make sure that you have all of those there, and check that you have the correct fingering as well. I do have a fingering chart in every single one of my videos, so you can check that in the description there, and just cross-reference that you're getting the correct letter names and the fingerings as well. Alright, so now we're going to play the piece. So again, this is going to be a quarter note equals 90. 1, 2, 3, 1. Very good. So again, feel free to, if you want to get off of the metronome at the end there and really take your time, especially with those breath marks, the marcatos there, feel free to take your time and slow it down so it's nice and dramatic. So I'm just going to play from bar 24, 25, that pickup there, just so you can have an example of what that might sound like. So this is not with the metronome. So that's an example of where you're comfortable with the notes and the rhythm, where you can take a little bit of time and liberty to really make it your own special version of the anthem. Alright, so if you are interested in playing along with my flute trio accompaniment, feel free to just stay to the end. But otherwise, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here today. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Or if you are having issues with practicing, check out my free practice guide. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button and also to subscribe for more videos just like this. Alright, thank you so much, and as always, happy fluting!